Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Deconversion Stories. And today I am chatting with my friend Zach here, who's the host of the Zachrelige cast, which you can find on Podbean, iTunes, all the usual places that you get podcasts. And by the way, there's links below for that sort of stuff down there. So definitely check those out if you like what you hear here tonight. Anyway, Zach, first of all, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. The downside of being on the other side, since I, like you, do interviews, is like, oh no, now I have to talk. Oh,
yeah.
I like the whole like ask a question and then like, hey, ooh, interesting, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a role reversal because I was already on your show. So
That's right.
Anyway.
You classed up the joint.
Well, let's not get carried away. Anyways, what I do here, Zach, is I talk to people about whatever belief systems they were a part of and how they found their way out. And, well, I'd also like to chat a little bit about your podcast, of course, so people get an idea of what you do on that show. So anyway, why don't you kind of take us back to while you were in some sort of faith or belief system or religion or whatever, and as those dominoes started falling, how you exactly wound out of there.
Well, I actually never had a religion or faith in my past.
Oh.
The only experience I had, so would call quote unquote spiritual, was I had a near-death experience a while back.
Interesting.
And because of that, I decided to bring a special beer for tonight called Dodgers of Death. Which is a macaroon-inspired barrel-aged strong ale. And like most beers I like, it takes about a paragraph to explain it, but I'll leave it. It's mostly vanilla and kind of like maple and all that stuff. But so let me kind of set the scene. So I'm in a room. My mom says, let's do something normal today. So I'm sitting in a hospital bed. And for my mom, normal is she has been in this ICU for like the past 3 weeks, keeping an eye on me because I've been in critical condition.
Right.
And my point of view is I just came out of a medically induced coma and I am not sure what's going on. I'm drinking a lot of cranberry juice because I'd lost weight because I'd been on, liquid diet for the past 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd been having hallucinations and nightmares and sweating through the sheets and just absolutely just a wreck and feeling terrible.
How did you end up in there to begin with?
So we'll get there in a second.
Okay.
So my mom says to me, like, well, let's do something normal today. So she turns on the TV and the first thing we see is a plane fly into a building. It was 9/11. And I had to ask my mom, is this really happening? Because at the time, I was just, reality and dreams were totally messed up. Basically, the story was I had a staph infection and I had developed spina bifida as a child, but it hadn't totally developed. So I had a little more space between, it's like in my spine. So as the staph infection pooled in my spine, and at the same time, I developed blood clots in my leg that were shooting pieces of blood clots into my lungs. So I came to the hospital and it was like, I think you have double pneumonia. And that's what they told my parents who lived in Nashville. I'm in Atlanta. And so my dad came down. And as soon as like an hour later, my mom came down and they found out, oh, your son has a staph infection and he has a blood clot and we have to do surgery like immediately.
Oh, shit.
And after they had removed the staph infection from me, they basically had to put me in a medically induced coma because my lungs were basically shut down. So I got a nice tattoo here. It's like the tracheotomy I had. So I was breathing through a machine in about 3 weeks. And the stuff they give you when you're 27 years old and they have to put you in a medically induced coma is pretty strong stuff. And what they have to give you to get out of that is just as bad. So when I first got out of it, I was acting crazy and I was like throwing the sheets off and I had like friends in the room and I was like just acting nuts. And my mom was like, actually, I think that's the way he acted when he was a kid. And so they just gave me time. And about a week later, that's when my mom said, let's turn the TV on. And we watched the plane fly into, the second plane fly into the building.
Oh, shit. Yeah. I remember that.
And it was the same day that they inserted they insert like this PICC line, which is like a permanent kind of IV, because I was taking so much antibiotics at the time. So we were like listening to the radio, and it was just insane. And they were like putting this, it's like this giant PICC line. It goes all the way from like your vein into like your heart, so it can put the antibiotics in. Because I was in antibiotics for like 6 months after I got out of the hospital. And a couple of times, one of the antibiotics they gave me destroyed my red blood cells, and I almost died. But, to kind of connect to the whole religion thing. So I came out of this, and the hospital chaplain was spending a lot of time with us. And my parents and this guy were like praying together. And I was like, well, what's going, we had never really talked much about religion, but this guy was, there for my parents, and that was great. But at the time, it kind of was the beginning of making me think, you know what? I don't know if I actually believe, but I haven't really been soaked in it. Like, we never went to church growing up. I had one experience where I dated a girl and she dumped me because I went to church with her, and obviously I didn't know what I was doing, so that didn't go well. But other than that, yeah, I didn't really figure it all out. And the whole situation, I think, put my parents back more into religion, and it got me more out at the same time.
Interesting.
But there are a lot of experiences that happened while I was like kind of hallucinating. Like one of them, one of the nurses that was there, I had this dream that she would give me a shot and I couldn't breathe. And she would tell me that if I told my parents, she would kill me. And then she'd give me another shot and I could breathe again. Yeah. And then my parents said to me, how come you don't like that nurse? It's like, hard to explain.
She tried to kill me.
But yeah, now it's like, it's going to be 20 years. And then I ended up, so I did like a kind of a storytelling class with my wife, and I told the story that, do something normal thing. And then I actually got in touch with someone who is an editor at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. So I actually got to write an article which told the story of what I can remember about like me getting sick because I was staying in a girlfriend's apartment and it was really disgusting. And I think that's how I got the infection initially.
Really?
Yeah. I basically had like a pimple and it got infected, and it almost led to me dying at age 27. That's another reason why like I probably almost died, was because I felt really bad, but I'm like, well, I'm young and I almost never been to the hospital and I'm fine. And then it took me almost dying to get to the emergency room, and the rest is history.
Oh.
I like that sound.
Yeah, that's the hashtag coin sound. So when you say, you said it was a near-death experience, like what about it? Like, did you hallucinate something or?
Well, initially I thought, because I was in a coma for about like 2.5 weeks, I thought I was having these like dreams the whole time, but really I was having them right toward the end when they were trying to get me out.
Oh, okay.
Because it was called, the drug they put me on was like called Haldol, and they call it drug of last resort. Like a year or two after I got out, I actually looked at all the, medical notes. And for about 2.5 weeks, I was critical but stable. So my parents like came down here, and they can't imagine what I went through. I can't imagine what they went through, because they were like sitting in a hospital watching me in a medically induced coma for like 2.5 weeks, and nothing changed.
Right.
And the odds were pretty low that I was going to get out of it. And if I did, I was going to get out of it okay. And at one point I did have a hallucination where, most of these hallucinations, I was in the room I was in. So I was seeing like the whiteboard, and I was like, I could see my like vital signs, and I saw them like drop down to nothing.
Oh shit.
And I thought, well, this is it. And then like nothing happened. And I will not be the person who's like, I went through this experience, so it's true. But I know like it's, people who are Christian usually see Jesus. And if you're Muslim, you're going to see Allah or see Muhammad. I didn't see anything. So that was my own experience, but it's based on my mind trying to cope. So I had these dreams, and I even had like a fake like best friend I created out of nothing. And eventually I realized, oh crap, this person was based on these commercials my parents would put on TV. And it was just like some guy wearing a cowboy hat doing a car commercial. And I thought, oh, this is my buddy. And it was just some guy in a car commercial. And then, it was getting reconnected to reality after the fact. And then realizing, wow, I think this brought my parents closer to religion and me further away. And I didn't really, think about it that much, but it was in that like 2014, 2015 era where a bunch of shows were happening. That was when like the Atheists on Air were happening. And then like Barroom Atheist started, and No Religion Required started. And then Bobby from No Religion Required was like, you should do a podcast. I'm like, huh, okay. And at that time I was doing this show with a friend of mine about the Tennessee Titans. And we did it. And it was on YouTube, and literally like one person watched it. And she was like, well, you just record it on Google Hangouts and do it, and then you can get the audio and make it into a podcast if you want to. And I'm like, okay. So I interviewed Bobby from No Religion Required, episode number 1, which was 2015, I think. And the rest is history. I started interviewing like fantasy football people in like the 2010s, and I interviewed about 150. And after that, I was kind of like, okay, what do I do now? And then I was like, well, what do I do? I don't know if I can debate a presuppositional apologist or if I can do any of that, but I can get the shows I'm interested in, the people that I think are cool, and just have them on a show. So that's really what I've been doing for the past, 6.5 years. I just did episode 252 last night. So, I don't do 3 episodes a week like some people, but, I do what I can.
Yeah.
It's your corner. I'm not getting in your corner.
I appreciate that. But I just decided, you know what? I could have done once a week, if I wanted to, but I thought, no, it's just too much fun. And there's lots of people I can talk to. So why not go 3 times a week?
You're never going to run out. I mean,
right.
That was the thing. It's just initially it was like, well, I'm going to interview podcasters, and then like, well, I'll interview people who write about it. And then it's like, wow, there's like a ton of people who do YouTube videos. There's this weird YouTube podcast thing. It's like the difference between the people like me who does like 45-minute shows and you do like 4-hour things. I feel like we can still get along, but it's a difference.
So far,
and for some people do, real like video editing type stuff. And then there's some people like me who just record me in my room and my cat's, sitting over there. So yeah, this is my studio.
Yeah, I'm literally just in my bedroom too. There's just no room to do anything in this place. So back when there was table space before my roommate filled it up with all their big ass fucking wrapping boxes and stuff like that and never took them away. I used to be able to do it out in the living room, but that's all right. Not anymore. I just do my room. I'm going to have, I got everything I need now for my green screen. So eventually I'm going to have a big green screen behind me. And when I get the energy to put it together and have something cool in the background all the time.
Yeah, I'm wondering about that. I obviously, like, I have a lamp I got at IKEA like 5 years ago. That's my lighting. I probably need to improve that. Plus, there will be blinds here. There just aren't now because we were going to paint this room, and then we had a leak, so we had to get the roof fixed before we could paint this room. But yeah, at the end of the weekend, this office will be a different color, and hopefully it'll be more podcast or YouTube friendly. We'll see.
YouTube friendly? Like what color are you thinking?
It's going to be navy blue. I picked that, as I mentioned, Tennessee Titans fan, and one of their colors is navy blue, and I was going for a dark. You know, it's like, oh, let's have this masculine office. I'm like, I don't really care about that, but I think a darker background probably is going to work better than this beige that's been here since like 2011. So, gonna give it a go. Gonna put up, you know, like lanyards from conferences I've been to, and yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I got my Faithless Forum one around here somewhere. You know, the weird thing is, yesterday I got home from work, and I got something in the mail. It was like a package in the mail, a little one. And I'm like, what the hell? I didn't order. Well, I do have things on order, but they'll be coming in much larger packages. Like I just ordered the new gigantic fucking Lego Millennium Falcon that's like huge. It's like something like 1 billion pieces or some shit, and I got to put that sucker together. But and a bunch of a new helmet, new Mandalorian helmet. I got one already, but I got another one.
Yeah, you can't just have one. You got to have a backup, right?
Yeah. Well, I just recently got my my Slade Wilson mask in the mail too, which is really cool.
It's really annoying. Like as a kid, you know, I was into Star Wars and I was into Legos, but they didn't have Star Wars Legos until like 10 years ago. They were like, wait,
yeah,
we haven't made money off that yet, and now it's a big thing. And I'm like, yeah, I should probably connect, because I was the idiot who like bought all the toys and I like sold them at a garage sale for like nothing right before like their value went through the roof. Yeah, because you could get Star Wars figures at like a hardware store in like the early 80s. I mean, they're just everywhere.
Yep. Yeah, I used to go and buy them. They're like $5.
It wasn't a thing. And then I think I had them.
Play them. Yeah, I had tons. And you know
Aluminum Falcon.
Yeah. When they first came out with the first versions of Darth Vader, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and the Jawas, they had the vinyl capes on them. They didn't have the cloth ones until afterwards. So I had all the vinyl ones. Like I had like 5 vinyl Jawas, and vinyl Obi-Wan, vinyl Vader, with all the vinyl capes and the lightsabers that came out of the hand, not the ones that you stick in the hand, that came out later. And those ones with the vinyl capes are worth like a fucking fortune now. And of course, honestly, I was in Israel when my parents sold everything at a garage sale. Yeah. I
mean, it's like my dad, like in the 50s, had all these baseball cards, and his mom threw them out. I'm like, I think just everybody had that, and they all threw them out, and that's why they're worth a lot, because all the people didn't think they're going to be worth anything. So who kept stuff in the boxes? You know, like everybody does now. Well, they do.
Well, so, I did. I think the only 2 figurines that I had left from the Star Wars collection was the not rare and expensive Snaggletooth and Boba Fett, the one you had to mail away for. You had to get like 5 proofs of purchase way to get them. So I had that one. Yeah, because Boba Fett was always like one of my favorites. But yeah, man, fuck. Oh yeah, what about the small package? Right, everyone. Wingling.
Yeah, that's the chat. That's the comment you see.
Wait a minute. Hold it a minute here. Is that you from upstairs, Danielle? I have a friend in the building named Danielle. She's a great gal. Yeah, anyway, so yeah, I was telling the story about the small package that came. And it just showed up out of the blue. I didn't recognize where it came from or nothing. But inside of it was this thing. I'm like, okay.
Are you a mask wearer?
I order masks, but what the fuck is this? Like, what in the hell is this? Like, what am I, 5? Like, it barely even fit. There we go.
Is that from the new show? I mean, I'm like one of the 5 people who don't have Disney Plus, so I haven't seen any of that.
Oh no! This is it's just a Captain America fucking mask.
I mean,
you don't have Disney Plus? How the hell are you watching The Mandalorian?
I'm not. I mean, I had it with like my former cell phone, and I got like halfway through season 1, and then it got cut off, and we just got to see like Hamilton and then like half of season 1 of Mandalorian, and you know, I'm waiting. With all these channels, it's like, well, I'm waiting for the moment when it's like, okay, now I can binge a bunch of stuff, but now they're just going to keep crashing. People want to know what I'm drinking. Someone asked. Dodgers of Death.
Yes, because
this is a Zach Law special. Macaroon-inspired barrel-aged strong ale. So it's a strong ale with Ugandan vanilla. Oof. That's right. and it has some toasted coconut. And it's by a local brewer called Monday Night. The weird thing is there's like multiple breweries in Atlanta that started because of like Bible studies. And I'm kind of like, I want to go to this Bible study where you're drinking beer. It could be fun. And then it's like a home brewer who's actually opening his own place called Little Cottage. And I want to check it out because anyone who's like, yeah, macaroon, that should be a good beer. I'm like, I'm in, you know, that's my style. I like these kind of desserty type beers.
Yes,
and
I do too.
And anything like this color. Although I do remember like Aaron Ross saying he wasn't into yellow beers, and I'm pretty sure I saw him on a show with a beer that was once you make a claim, you get knocked down. See, like if he drinks anything that isn't this color, I am just like, what? Who are you? I don't even know you anymore. Like him going to a restaurant going, can you not have any spice? Yeah, that's
no, he wouldn't do that. He asked them to notch it up. Every time we went out to eat and he got spicy food, Aaron would be like, yeah, you guys say this is a 10, make mine an 11. Right? So he'd always notch it up, right? So I got a great picture of me just like, what the fuck is he's like, yeah, he's like sweating and he's eating these spicy ass noodles. It's great. But somebody mentioned, I could wear this and I could be walk around. This could be.
I didn't know there'd be costume changes. I mean, I'm not prepared.
Captain Atheist.
I have one outfit. Only made like 3 of these shirts, and I gave the rest away to Patreons. So yeah, this thing's getting pretty faded.
You don't have a merch store?
No, I should have like koozies and stuff. I mean, clearly, and like beer openers. I need the corner of the market. T-shirts, that's boring. Well,
we're making these.
Go a different direction. Yeah.
Say hashtag coins on them, right? So
I'm in.
Well, not these ones in particular, but beer cozies. This one is like a 2-piece.
Although
unscrew it.
Ask. So I saw someone in the chat ask about marijuana. Well, I live in the States, and I probably live in the state in the U.S. that's going to be the last one to pass like medical marijuana, so it's probably not going to happen. The only experience I have with pot is I went to a concert. It was like this massive concert with a lot of people there. I know it doesn't seem like it's real, but this did used to happen. And I went to like the oldies stage, and they had I think they had Bob Dylan on there, which was crazy.
Nice.
And I got the secondhand smoke. And then they had like a Euro stand, and I went there and I had one. I'm like, this is the best Euro I've ever had. So that's the only experience I've had. I've heard of people talking about, like edibles and stuff, and they go, I can't feel it. And then 30 minutes later, they're on the floor. So I'm sure that experience, like, I kind of want to go to like Colorado is kind of like famous for having, it's like pot's pretty much legal like beer is, and they have a bunch of good breweries. So I think that'd be a nice duo for me to try.
Oh, hang on here.
Yeah, Neil, what kind of podcast does this guy have? Exactly.
Let's actually, I mean, you've already told the sort of, we're never really religious. So
I told my origin story. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So let's get into, first of all, before we get into what your podcast is about.
What am I? Who am I?
You mentioned earlier that somebody said you should do a podcast. Is that literally the only thing it took for you to decide to do one?
I think at the time, during that era, it was really weird. There's this show, Atheists on Air, and it had this guy named Cash, and people still he's like a mystery. Like he's living somewhere in the Carolinas, and he quit doing the show, and he just said, do a show. You don't have to, there are so many Christian shows out there, and there really are. And if you you watch any left or atheist content on YouTube, the ads you get are just going to be woo. But anyway, he said do shows. So that led to Barroom Atheist. And the best part, so I got to be on Barroom Atheist, which was, it was just talking about religion, but they would do, it was a married couple, and they would do, the guy's wife would read the Bible for the first time. So we would read Psalms together and go through it. And I bought this beer called Even More Jesus to drink while I was on the show.
Yes,
I thought, I am cool. I'm having this stout. Well, the thing was, I had this beer and I had it on my desk, and I kept hitting the desk during the show. And after I did my segment, the guy's like, dude, you keep slamming your beer into your desk every time you put it down. So that's why I've created this special space where I have like a towel so it doesn't make the noise. Like I didn't really think about the noise, but I had done interviews, and I'm like, well, I can do interviews with people, so why not do that? And I'd say there aren't that many shows, but you know, there are cool people like you who do the interview aspect. But there are people. It's like people just think they can do it, and they can. It's not hard to ask questions. I mean, you can even come up with the same like stock questions.
Yeah.
But it's fun to have, and I've always enjoyed like the live aspect. I mean, it can be a little bit tough for people. People are like, man, I can't do a show live. And it's like, that's the only way I can record. Like, I'm not editing this stuff, man, unless there's some really bad audio stuff going on. I do not mess with that, but I like to ask. And it's really like standard, you know, if it's a content creator, like, you know, how did you get started? What was your religious background? And it's really just, I am doing the unfortunate thing for me. I'm introducing you to your next new favorite show. So you might actually use me as a gateway to other things. Mm-hmm. But I still, you know, it's after like 6 years. I know the whole atheist thing, after a while, you can go, I get over it. But it just doesn't end. I mean, you see all these crazy laws getting passed and how like, they're trying to make America into theocracy. And states like Georgia, I can't believe Georgia actually led on a, you know, bigoted anti-voter law that they passed. Because usually Georgia is bigoted, but they're usually lazy. They follow other states. So it was surprising when they did that law that included you can't, you know, pass out food and water to people waiting in line to vote, because we know you're going to be waiting in line to vote because we're restricting your ability to vote. But just, I don't know. I like interviewing people. This is a topic that gets to be a little bit, you know, it's like, oh, I don't know if I should talk about this, but at the same time, people are wearing crosses around their neck all the time, and they don't think about it twice. So,
nope, not at all.
Why not? And it's just, I don't know. I like interviewing people, like talking to people, like getting to know new people, and then they're just all over the country and all over the world. And I mean, I haven't had that many international interviews for you, like in England, but it's fun to see. I mean, the community, as you know, can be frustrating, but you know what happens when human beings get involved? People can be assholes to each other, and they can be dehumanizing too. So you just have to kind of acknowledge it. And getting to know gay people better, getting to know trans people better, getting to know people who have different experiences. Like, you know, this whole series you have is about people deconverting. Well, I never had that experience. And I wonder to myself, I'm like, if my family grew up, because my parents are kind of like liberal Catholics, like if they put me in there as a young child, would I have stayed for the community? And I really don't, know. So I always want to know what someone's experience is that I don't know. I want it to be different. And plus I get to be this, hey, I'm the white male. I get to have all this privilege. So I get to do this stuff and not get as much trouble as other people could. So I'm going to cause a little bit of trouble if I can. Use of Neil can lead to a maple syrup addiction. We gotta hear about this.
It's true.
And if you think like, gosh, my show is hard to like spell. So just get the word sacrilege, replace the SAC with ZACH, and you have it. Zachrilege. So it is weird because it's like the show is called the Zachrilege Cast, and people are like, the Zachrilege Cast podcast or Zachrilege Cast show. And is there a "the" in front of it? I don't even know after 6 years. I can't explain it. I don't know. I work in email marketing, and I should be better than to have a show that's hard to spell, but that's the way it is. And maybe I want it to be a little difficult to find me. But yeah, Zachrilege. You found Zachrilege Cast on YouTube? There you go. And every person who subscribes to this guy, because he's awesome. This guy. See? 2 beers in. Not a good idea. You should subscribe to me too. And then
this is number 3 for me.
Equally cool. Yeah, I know. You're like, oh yeah?
Well, no, when I got home from work, I was like
Hot
so
wings.
thirsty. I just downed one right away.
Mm.
And then about 20 minutes after that, it's like, fuck, I want another beer. So I went and had another beer. And I nursed that one a little bit longer. And this is now the third one. I figured, fuck it, I'll just have another one.
I mean, that's the thing. Like when you do YouTube videos, if you don't have a producer like this guy does, it just picks like random images. And every image it picks of me is doing this because I'm when my guest is talking, I'm sipping. You know, that's just how it goes.
Sipping away. Oh no, that's slipping away. Sorry, Dio.
Yep.
Not that he can hear me; he's dead. So.
Oh
yeah, you know, I never met him, but I saw him at an event that I was at. And the funny thing is, I don't even remember what the fucking event was, but it had something to do with cars, I think. But anyways, and I remember seeing him in like way off with a crowd of people off to the side somewhere, and I'm like, holy shit, he's short. I didn't realize. I heard he was short, but I didn't realize how short he was. He'd come up to like here on me, like he's short. I'm if I put my biker boots on, man, I'm 6'5". So. He's just this little dude.
I feel like you're pretty intimidating, you know?
Well, Aaron and I are pretty much like, we look like fucking brothers. It's crazy. When you see the two of us standing together, it's like two gigantic fucking intimidating looking dudes. Yeah, Master Yoda equals Dio.
Exactly.
Yeah. Dio, fuck, that guy could sing. Grant, silly drunk atheist.
Got a little Dawkins for you.
Not quite drunk, but yeah, I know how to spread it out so that I don't get drunk that fast, Grant. So
there's potential.
That's right.
There is always potential.
Exactly. So, so you do have a YouTube channel? I couldn't fucking find it.
Yeah, it's because you seem to not be. It's right there. It's Zachrilege. It's there. Zachrelige cast. Yeah.
That's bizarre because I tried looking for one and it came up empty every time I tried that.
Come on, chat room, help him out.
Oh my goodness! You know what I did? I spelled the fucking name wrong. That's why. Now
I did. Yeah.
I
told you. Even I like. There are a couple times where I post the podcast, and I'm like, wait, I spelled my own name wrong. That's not good. So yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's tough. My mom gave me the name Zach, and then Zach is a name that always gets misspelled. There's a Z-A-C-K, there's a Z-A-K. Right. It's just all over the place. And you know what? That's just the way it is. Yeah, Zachrilege Law. I don't know why I put my actual name on there, but yeah, that's the channel. But if you look it up, you'll see it. I mean, I don't know. I tend to think more in terms of like the pod, like as an audio thing. I mean, I do the video and I usually have the guest is on like this, you know, where we're talking to each other, but I always feel like I get more engagement through the podcast medium. And initially I used to just record it live and just throw the audio in there. And now I do the intro outro myself and I throw in some like Simpsons quotes in there and, do a little bit of editing, but that's a pain when you're a one person shop. Like I had a friend who's like, "Hey, want me to help you on the show?" I'm like, "Wait, you can do that? Huh, interesting." See, look, Mickey Fammon's all of a sudden my favorite. Mikey Fammon, favorite person.
He hates Mickey. Careful,
Mikey. Sorry.
Yeah, he was saying
the
one thing I hate. The one thing I hate is the Mickey one.
It's funny. Even Neil does, but I see people like actually get audio, and I found a gong sound on YouTube, and I just go, "Welcome to the Zachrilege cast," and that's it. So that's it. Anytime I hear intro music on a podcast, I hit fast forward like 15 seconds. So, you know how it goes.
Yeah.
Apparently. Don't ask me to pronounce people's names. It's wrong. It's hard enough answering questions. Oh, my feelings. Oh, I don't know.
Hey, man, it happens. And I don't think, hang on. See, now I got to fix all of this shit now. Boy, oh boy.
I told you. I am trouble. Don't mess with us Americans. It's a bad thing. But I like staying in touch with as many Canadians as possible, because even though we do have a Democrat right now in the White House, it's like I still might need to like crash on somebody's couch. The whole Handmaid's Tale situation could still occur in our country. I mean, it's kind of halfway there at the rate we're going.
That's true. Hang on.
I mean, that's the point. You like think like, oh, we've made all this progress. It's like, well, the only way progress happens is like you keep fighting and keep pressure on people, because we had all these laws with like voter rights, and then the Supreme Court's like, we're cool. It's been 50 years. We're fine. Let's just get rid of them. And then the states are like, great. We love this. We love limiting people's ability to vote. And it's still crazy. Like I see people talk about.
Why do they think that that's a good idea? I don't get that.
Because we're dumb. It's like we were left alone by the world for all this time, and then all of a sudden we got to be in charge, and we're like, we're cool. And then, it was just nuts to have like someone like Rick Santorum being on CNN. Like, first of all, why did they hire him? And he's like, well, the Native Americans didn't have anything to do with our upbringing. It's like, yeah, because we killed them all. And then we named all our sports teams after them, but that was,
Yeah.
And that was it.
All right. Okay, so the spelling error has been corrected, and your YouTube channel has been added to the description box. So there you go. And there's also your Twitter, your Patreon.
That's all I need. I'm done. I'm finished here. Night, night. I'm out. I know you have like 6 hours to go. I know.
No. Hold on.
I'll stick around. I'm cool.
All right. Good. You got more beer, I hope. Yeah, so.
I do.
Don't let me down, Doug.
I have another one. The thing was like, so I'm going to like repaint this office. So I had it was like my in-laws got me a wine fridge, which became a beer fridge really quickly. Right. And it used to be in here. So like if I was doing a show and I was like, oh, I need another one, it's like right there. And I left it downstairs. So I'm like, oh, I better bring an extra one just in case. So yeah. Exactly.
An extra one?
Well, an extra beer for not a fridge, but
Do you have like a little cooler there with you, or?
I don't have one in here, but yeah, I had my beer fridge, but I moved it, and we'll be back here for next week.
All right, fair enough.
I'll be all right.
See, I always have my little guy right here, right? So I got my little. Well, it says "No gods, no masters" on there.
Always be prepared.
Yes, of course. All right. All the spelling errors have been corrected. So,
I mean, the second time I went to ReasonCon 2017, I brought a cooler for the after party, and I had the beer in there, and I was ready. Actually, the bathtub in my hotel room became a cooler, and I just threw all the beer I had in there. And I got in trouble because I got some people drunk. I don't know why. Uh-oh. You're at an atheist conference. Why would you be in trouble for getting people drunk? But yeah, I know your audience.
Yeah, I don't know, man. When I was down there for the Faithless Forum at the hotel, everybody was getting drunk, so it didn't matter. Well, I mean, that's everyone who drank was getting drunk.
Yeah, that's a whole experience. Like, I know at like ReasonCon, people are like, "Oh, getting the pot." I'm like, I missed out on that, So, yeah, this is a Piano Keys. This is a stout by New Belgium, and it's a beer writer named Ale Sharpton, who's like also helping making beer, which is awesome. Cool. And it's a chocolate and vanilla stout. My style.
Ale. What did you say? Ale
Sharpton. If you go on Twitter, Ale Sharpton, he writes about beer a lot, so that's pretty cool.
It's not Al Sharpton, right?
Nope, he goes Ale.
Ale Sharpton.
I met him at like a beer festival. It's kind of like meeting Arn Rock, except I haven't actually met. He hasn't been. I don't think he went to the ReasonCons I went to. So yeah, I haven't actually. I had him on my show. There was a local brewery that made a stout that was aged in like hot sauce barrels, and he was like, "Ooh!" I'm like, "Oh, I should have got him a bottle," but It's just it's not Arn Raw hot sauce. It's just regular, it's not going to work. I feel like if I would present a beer to Arn Raw, I would feel like it would need to be, there was like a beer that was made somewhere in Europe and it's like 43% alcohol. I would have to hand him something like that to feel worthy. That doesn't actually sound like beer.
No, that's like hard alcohol.
There's a weird rule in like Georgia, 14% is the max. So I've been to like Tennessee for some reason has higher. It's like 18%. I feel like it'd have to be something in that range for it to be worthy of him.
It's like wine.
And then go get some like hot chicken with him.
He actually got me a beer just before my flight out of Dallas. That year we met up for a drink. And he drove me to the airport afterwards because he's just a cool guy like that. But he got me a beer that was a habanero beer, so it had a kick to it, and I was like, "Holy shit!" It tastes really good, and then they get that little kick at the end, and it's like, "Wow, holy crap!" Which actually almost cleanses your palate for the next sip. It was crazy. It's a very, very interesting.
Yeah,
beer. It's really tasty too.
It's wild the kind of beers. It's like Westbrook is a brewery in South Carolina, and they came out with a beer called Mexican Cake, and it's got all this sweet stuff in it, but it also has peppers. Ooh. And a local brewery, Three Taverns, which I have the mug for, it's called Day of the Departed, and it has like the vanilla and the chocolate, but it has peppers, so it does have a little bit of like spiciness to it, and it has cinnamon, which I don't always like in beer, but it's really well put together. So it's great. It's great that, this, this era of we've already, I think it was like in the 18th century or 19th century, we had like 6,000 breweries in America because it had to be local because you couldn't ship it. And now we've actually exceeded that number. And I don't know if post COVID, I feel like, a lot of those places may not have made it. And at a certain point, they're gonna struggle, but there are so many places, and if there's a certain style of beer you like, there's probably 20 options. I love that sound. That's good. I mean, I met a coworker because I posted on Twitter that I wanted the the Nintendo, the mini when it came out. Like I waited in line for it, and then I was like 10 people short, and the guy's like, "Oh, I have an extra one." And then we got to be friends because he liked beer, and we talked about grilling, and it was perfect.
Awesome. I was just gonna say, every time you pick up your glass, the level's different. So it's kind of like watching an episode of Cheers when Norm's in it, and his beer glass levels are always different in every shot. So
the consistency is not good.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if you people ever noticed that about Cheers, but that's one of the things that we used to make fun of, is every time they shot back to Norm,
I think they drank
up, down, up, down, up, down. It was all over the fucking place.
They drank like near beer on there, but yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It wasn't, it was like that 0.5% or something, like O'Doul's or some shit like that.
Although what's really weird is both George Wentz and like John Ratzenberger, who on that show, have been in pretty well-known like Christian movies. Like all these Christian movies, like they've gotten some really well-known, not just the Kevin Sorbos of the world. They've got like some really well-known actors in there because it's like, hey, a job's a job,
Yeah, so. That's right. Yeah, Sorbo. The shit that guy tweets just blows me away sometimes.
Dude, there are only so many Ben Shapiro's. You can't do it like bow down to the king. When you can show up to a Home Depot dressed like cosplaying as like a dad on the weekend, and you buy one piece of wood. Oh, that was so good. I make fun of my friend Chris because he's one of those who I moved from California because of all the taxes. He moved to like Tennessee, but he didn't move to Tennessee to live in the boonies. He moved to Nashville, which is a very kind of like Atlanta's blue in a sort of red state. Like Nashville's a blue spot in a red state, and that's where Ben Shapiro ended up. And poor guy has to live in the same area. So yeah. And it has to be like painful for I went to like Harvard Law School and I have to pretend to be really dumb every day so I can keep this audience.
All right. So we got about 15 or so minutes left here. So what I like to do these days, this is kind of a little bit newer feature, is I like to bring Mikey in because, he's probably stewing in the back there with some questions that he might have for you. So I always give him a chance to pop the cork on some questions. So come on in, Mikey.
I'm very busy right now. I
see
also
that.
have the Nintendo Switch. It is
I don't have a Switch, but I feel like it's another version of the
Game Boy.
It wants you to have like a monthly subscription because I still have my like Wii from 2011, so I have like some of the old games on there.
Yeah, dude.
But the whole thing with Switch is like you just pay the monthly fee and then you have access to all the old games, and that's what I want to have access to, like the original Mario, like Mario 3. That's what I like to play, like the old hockey game. Like my cousins, my nephews would kill me in every video game, but the old hockey, like I once beat my nephew like 30-2 on that thing. And when he figured out how to beat me, I was so sad.
I just feel old now.
I just feel old. Oh, it happens.
I actually just bought Mario 60. I just actually bought Mario 64.
Did you?
Yeah, they have like I guess it's kind of like a cash grab, but I don't really care at this point because it's like all the 3D Marios in one game. And I think it was like
nice.
$50. I was like, fucking take it. I would have paid 80, dumbass.
Yeah, Mario, like that Mario 64, that was
I loved it. I loved
something. That like came out, what was it, like late 90s, early whatever it was. It was
Yeah, it was very late 90s.
Because it was like
I was like before, it was before I was a teenager.
I had a video game gap. Like my parents got an Atari 2600 when I was growing up. And then between that, and then it was like Super Nintendo I got. And my favorite thing was Super Nintendo. They had a football game, but I figured out you could run the fake punt because you could run your punter to the left and the snap would automatically go to him and you could run for a touchdown like every time. It's like with like the old sports games, you just figured out how to beat them in a way that like you could never do it in real life. But it was like, oh, that's the trick. Oh, cool, I'm in. But I love the old hockey game because you had the skinny guy, the medium, and then the fat. And you're like, the fat guy could shoot hard, but then couldn't go fast. And it was, it was basic, but they made it work.
But I think that's kind of one thing I really gleaned from video games, especially as a kid, it was just problem solving. Just you're this character. Here's the hurdle. How are you going to jump it? Figured it, and then you just figured it out. And there wasn't like a look at, let me just Google the answer because Google wasn't a fucking thing back in the NES days. You just would be stuck on level 3 until you had a dream in the middle of the night, kicked the covers off, ran downstairs, and you fucking turned it on like, aha! There was a hidden box under there. You just had to jump around. And it was just like little shit like that. But I think a lot of that's gone now.
There's a question. Only men, why do you always ask if my guests have played D&D? You ever play D&D, Zach?
Well, I thought my browser history was like private on this show, but I haven't. But I feel like so many people have. Like I've had a bunch of guests who have done it, so I'm like, I'm in. Like, what D&D virgin is that like a fetish? But that could be a thing.
I'm doing my first campaign right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember like we had going to school. We had going in. People were like playing those kind of games, but I never, got into it. So I missed out. But the best part is like of this age is it used to be you would age out of video games. You'd age out of doing stuff like that. And it's like, why? Kind of nerd stuff. So anyway, I'll try not to look at my phone and see how the NFL draft is going. It's okay. It's all right. No, it's better when it's all over. It's like a TiVo. I'll get the rewind and watch it over again. It's not as interesting in reality as it is in theory. Sometimes that happens.
And especially with like COVID and shit going on for as far as D&D is concerned, now that there's like programs like Roll20 and then everybody can get into a StreamYard, you can play. You know what I'm saying? And it's instead of us just like sitting around and saying, so how's the kids? Cool. My kids are good. Cool. And so instead of that, you can go fucking be a Goliath barbarian who has a giant wooden mace that he carries around and he only speaks in puns. Like just a different fun brain exercise. while playing.
I mean, you would have to
Interact
get
with
together with friends and play board games, but because of COVID, you were able to play the board games like they're available online. I mean, we've mostly done kind of Zoom meetings with friends, and it was nice, even though we had no interest at all in the Oscars, just to hang out with friends and go to and watch the Oscars and watch. We're really just drinking and eating. It was great, and we made the picks, but it was I knew I wasn't going to win.
Not sure what that means.
What's that?
JR, I don't know what that means.
Oh, he's talking about that.
Sony PlayStation.
No. There's a kind of it's like a board that looks like a football field, and you have like 5 or 10 like little tokens that are football players, and then like you set them up, and then it vibrates, like the whole thing vibrates when you say hi.
Yeah, it's like
and then it kind of like vibrates and
you would pick one guy to be like would have the ball, but then the guy would move like this in the circle and it would never go forward. You would try to find the one guy who actually would move forward. It was crazy because it was like this vibrating thing.
Yeah.
And you put all your players on, and you even had like you would buy different like teams and do it. But it was we did a lot to be entertained in the 70s and 80s. I'll just put it that way.
Dude, man, for football, my favorite game was electronic quarterback.
I mean, there was the handheld one where you just moved up and down as a little dot, basically.
Across, it went
and
up,
that's
down,
what we would do when we were on like road trips. And my parents were smoking cigarettes, and the windows were up, and we were just breathing and all. It was good.
Those were the days.
As long as the batteries lasted, we're fine.
We got to a point where you get you figure out how to score a touchdown every time. So you could set it up and then put it behind your back and just hit the right buttons and you get a touchdown. Oh, hang on. You get another touchdown. So you just like no. But I could play it behind my back and get a touchdown every single time.
I think I looked it up. It's called electric football, and it's literally just a little vibrating thing under there that moves these like weighted chess pieces, and they just scoot around. And you have to just set them up with blockers and shit to run plays. YouTube took me there one day, and I didn't know how I got there.
You all right there, Bo?
I watched the championship of like the vibrating football. I was like, what am I doing? Like, what is wrong? YouTube is a great and a terrible place.
And quick note, anybody like in the chat room, I'm always looking for guests. So, just let me know.
I mean, I would come on and talk about like making music for like intros of shows or something like that. But, I couldn't be bothered.
Yeah, would you have any time for that? I mean, you're like constantly doing this show, right?
That and 3 other shows.
Goodness.
Yeah, he's a busy guy.
I'm a busy lad.
He's got to deal with me for 3 fucking days of the week, so I don't even know how he finds time to do the other shit.
Well, I will make this announcement here. You will get 2 weeks Mikey free because we have set a date for our nuptials, and we're gonna go on a cruise and then come back and hang out and maybe do a reception for the family. So
nice.
September 21st. Mark your calendars.
That's when you're tying the knot?
I'm getting married.
Oh, brother.
Wow.
I know. Everyone's told me, yes, this is the best thing. And then the same amount of people say, don't do it, turn around, run. Well,
what's the old saying? The one thing that kills your sex life? Wedding cake.
So
Kristen's like, don't do it.
Wow.
That's his wife.
I think you're talking about the cruise, right?
That's her. That's
her.
her.
Don't do it.
And the good thing is I have a partner who really thinks she's funny. Like she really is convinced that she's hilarious. And if she can put
saying like anybody who wants to know what my show is, it's on my t-shirt. Anyway.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. There you go.
Spell this.
Yeah, actually, I can probably do this too. Hang on a second.
Let's
see what I can do right here.
That's true.
Hold on. Oh, I got you.
It's all legal, right?
3.
I mean, when you get all the groupies from doing all the atheist podcasts, I don't know. It's gonna be tough to decide to get married, right?
There you
Oh, well, thank you for the background.
go.
It's mostly blocked. It's okay.
Yeah, it's like
Something I put together in Canva in 5 minutes.
We I would use these sort of. I thought about using it tonight, and I'm like, no, because nobody's going to see it, so we'll just talk about it. And then I saw you had the shirt on. I was like, perfect. He's got the shirt on, so that's great.
That's right.
So yeah, we'll just go back to the black hole. Oh no, Doc, where's me? Never mind. But yeah, so
okay.
Oh,
go ahead.
I don't even think you have to ask a question. I feel bad.
It's okay. It happens. Wait till the after show.
You have a show you're on.
What's like your outside of doing like regular old 9-to-5 stuff and doing your show? Like, what's your main jam? Are you like a music head, or I know sports, but I think that's part of your show, though, right?
This is going to be dangerous, but yeah,
beer. Just beer.
So beer, and I'm one of those people. The way people are about CrossFit when it comes to my big green egg, because I like the grill.
You got an egg.
We were one of those, of course, white privileged people get to do this, but like during the COVID, we got to redo our kitchen, so we cook a lot. So that's been a lot of fun. And now now that we're both vaccinated, it's like, last weekend we actually got to hang out with people for like the first time in like a year, or like fellow vaccinated people. It was like, wait, how do we have a conversation in person with people? It's really like we had people over for dinner, and it's always good when you have friends who are like, oh, they like Belgian beer. Oh, Delirium Nocturnum. Great. Okay, that's what I brought. And it was perfect. Mm-hmm.
I don't know how, like, when everything opens all the way back up in, like, I don't know, 300-400 years.
Ouch.
You know what? Maybe I'll get a.
You might want to wear the what is it, the vest all the time, just to be safe.
Yeah.
I got one you can borrow. It's a really cool one. It's just you put it on, and then if you have to, you pull the thing, and it pops out. Yeah,
I've seen those like little wrist thingies that people can have now. If they get like really fucked up by a wave, they can pull this thing, and it's just got compressed CO2 in a balloon. Fucking shoots them right out of there. That thing's awesome.
I kind of want like my own boobs to do that. Like I just hit a button.
Were you the kid in the pool who was making the big like bubble with air on your like swim trunks, just making the big fucking fart bubble thing
with air? Okay.
Yeah.
Kristen,
the Eddie Murphy. When I wanted a jacuzzi, I had to fart in the tub. That was a lot.
Yeah, that's right. And then the big brown shark came.
Wow.
Good old Eddie Murphy. Yeah.
I feel the romance in the chat. It's just there.
Yeah. It's quiet. You can smell it. It's like,
she's
yeah, that's one thing I always wondered is, when you're driving around, you're looking for an address. Why do we fucking turn the radio down when we're doing that? It's not.
I can see better. I can see better without all those music notes.
No.
There's music notes that come up just like in the cartoons, and there's just little music notes, and they're all in the way. So you got to turn the music down. That's how I know that is a real thing.
That's true, because I got hit in the head once, and little Tweety birds were floating around. So
just once.
Yeah, once. Yeah. No, I've been hit in the head many times. I've got scars to prove it. If you shaved my head, it would look like a road map.
So aside from beer, because we all like beer, but so like the grilling and stuff like that, that's like, would you classify yourself as a foodie?
I mean, I don't know about that. I just
theory.
I just like grilling. One year, my wife gave me a pizza making class.
Cool.
As a gift, and now I can like make my own like pizza dough, and that's pretty fun. And I can make like naan, use the same recipe, and there's like a Mediterranean pork, and it's just like the first grill I got, because I live in Georgia, which is humid as fuck. It just melted after 5 years. It just fell apart.
Yeah.
So I bought this big green egg, which is like a ceramic. It's like a Japanese style like cooker, and those things are really good. It takes a while to warm up, but once it goes, it can be like 700 degrees. And I had to actually like hire somebody from the store to put it together for me, because I was trying to do it.
It's heavier than anything. It's like
It's
150 pounds.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy.
Yeah. We used to sell
But
those things at a store I used to work at, and that was the thing. Is like, oh, that person wants to buy that. Fuck, get Larry, Jack, Frank, and Tommy. I don't care if he's on break. Tell him to get his ass down here. We got to get this thing in the back of a fucking.
Yeah, it's the thing that wasn't totally accurate about the Man in a High Castle, which is where like the Japanese and the Germans like took over America, and the Japanese were like, "Oh, American barbecue. Never heard of this." I'm like, we got Kamado grills from that region of the world.
That's kind of y'all's thing.
Everybody in the world has figured out. Oh, you put charcoal in a grill. Oh, okay. It's like it's not an American thing. It's a worldwide thing. But yeah, I've had that thing for a while, and it's not like melted off. And it's like having an Apple product. You always have the accessories. Like you always have to buy like the extra stuff. Like when I bought the pizza class, it was like you need a pizza stone, but then you need like a thing to put the pizza thing on top of the stone. And it's like, oh, I didn't even know. So yeah, you figure out the stuff over time. But it's why leave the house? It's all about the cooking and the grilling and the watching too much TV probably. But it's the way it goes.
Yeah.
How did someone's dog get trapped in here?
That's my dog. I'm telling Kristen since she wants to, instead of texting me all of her snarky comments, she's putting them in the chat so she can come get the dog.
My cat's right back there, and he's totally comfortable. Yeah, Utah Outcast. That was on your show. That was another show I did that went way too late. They're like, hey, we started at like 9 o'clock. I'm like, wait, 9 o'clock your time? Oh, I'm in trouble. Yeah,
that's like stupid o'clock my time. Mm-hmm. I know. We spend hours.
Yeah, they're like an hour ahead of you, so it's totally fine.
Yeah, it's okay. And actually, we were kind of wanted to have him on Atheist Drinking Out Loud this weekend, but he can't do it. He's got his son's lacrosse game. And I thought, well, I'll ask Bionic Dance because she expressed interest as well. And I was going to have her on at the end of next month, which we'll still do. But now I got to find someone to come on the Atheist Drinking Out Loud show that hasn't been on Mikey.
Atheist Drinking Out Loud. Huh?
I'm just saying.
I can't relate to this at all.
I got to work this Saturday anyway, so I'm busy.
I'm
too busy for the invite I didn't actually receive.
Yeah, seriously, I can feel love. I can see why you make this work.
I don't have time for something that I'm not invited to.
Hold on. Okay, you know what? We're over the hour, so why don't we just get this all into an after party?
Yeah.
Let's do that. Zach, you'll stick around for a little while longer, right?
Sure.
All right, you're about to meet a lot of my zany friends, so be prepared.
All right. Well, send me an invite and we're going.
They're all really good people. Most of them
you can drink water out loud, Grant. Come on.
Yeah.
Lemonade. It's fine. We'll judge you, but we won't judge you.
Have some tea, maybe.
After our party, if you're up for it, you're welcome to come in. Basically, that's what if you guys want to join us, let Mikey or myself know through Twitter or Facebook, and you can join us. Mikey's got to go deal with. Wait, hold on. Where the hell'd you go? Zach took off. I don't know why. He hates us. You see that, Mikey? He hates us. I don't know. He left. That's okay. We're going to give him a link to the after party. He doesn't really need to be here for this anyways. But yeah, thanks for joining me, Zach, if you can still hear me. And thanks to all my amazing patrons. You guys are awesome. Seriously, without you guys, I probably would have a lot harder time doing the show. So thank you very much for your support. We just had a couple of new patrons, actually, just recently. Hellbound Hillbilly has become a patron, and Tobin has become a patron. So you guys are great. Thank you very much, both of you guys.
If I can,
Hellbound's not here.
If I can, at the beginning of the after party, I'm going to read the list of names because I think people deserve a little shout out.
I think so too.
Yeah, for sure.
I think so too. Yeah, Hellbound. Yeah, he just like I think it was yesterday he became a patron, and I've sent everyone thank you notes. And yeah, that's a little banner that's sticking across the bottom of the screen there. Says, Don't forget that Randolph and I are starting up our own call-in show very, very soon. Soon is a relative term in this situation, but so far there's a bunch of silly construction videos that you guys can watch us building our studio, which is still under construction, but it won't be too long. We're hoping to knock most of it off this summer, so hopefully by the fall we'll be able to get shit rolling, which is exactly what I said last year.
we got to talk Randolph into vlogging that. He is missing out on tons of live stream views on his channel. He could break the internet with Randolph, perfectly measuring and cutting everything.
Speak of the devil, and he appears. Hello, hellbound hillbilly. I did send you a message via Patreon, but thank you very much for your support. I really appreciate it. And so that show's going to air sometime soon. And don't forget that myself and Mr. Mikey here, who's been on a couple of times now, on the new revamped and relaunched nonprofit show, which airs Sunday between Talk Heathen and the Atheist Experience about 3 p.m. Central. I will be on, it's all the girls that are going to be on, I think, this weekend. And then the one I did was getting in the can for the following weekend. So I'll be on the one in the following weekend. X has also been on there with us and will be again in the future. I'm working on getting Bionic Dance in there to do an episode or two with us. There's lots of folks that we've got. I want Randolph to come in and do an episode or two with us. So we always have a guest there, but there's a usual crew with like Malty and Martin and Puck and myself and Jenna and many, many really good people that are on that show. Too many to mention. But anyways, the last Saturday of every month, actually it's going to be on the 1st of May this time, because it's we did one in the middle of the month and we didn't do one at the end of last month because of my mom being in the hospital and stuff, so I wasn't around for it. But we're going to do it on May 1st, and then we'll have one at the end of May. So it's going to be Atheist Drinking Out Loud with me and Andy Hall. Andy Hill? Hall?
I don't know who Andy Hill is. I bet it was Hillbilly. Hillbilly. It was stuck in your head.
Probably, yes. It's at 2 p.m. Pacific time on coming up on the 1st. And it's myself and Seamus and Andy, and we get together and make fun of shit and fun of people, and we drink lots and have a good time. It's really fun. 1st of May, outdoor fucking starts today. Yeah, it's a great song. Oh, there you go. All right, that's it, guys. So unfortunately, Zach kind of took off early for some reason. He might have had to pee. I mean, he did have a couple of beers, but all right. But until next time, guys, like I always say at the end of these shows, like the late great Christopher Hitchens once said, it's called faith because it's not knowledge. There's a link to the after party below. We'll see you guys there, and see you next time. Hi.